glass tube hand cutter. How to use one. Your hand cutter comes with a cutting wheel pre-installed and is ready to use. Do not apply oil or lubricant. It works best grease-free and dry. 2. To make a cut. Set the depth of cut using the convenient length marks on the arm to align the cutting wheel to the required finished length. Securely lock the back plate with the thumb screw. For cuts less than 50 mm, 2 inches, deep, remove one of the 2 guide rollers. Longer cuts are easier with both guide rollers in place. 3. Slide the tubing onto the cutting arm. Gently press the tubing end against the white wear plate. 4. Maintain slight pressure against the wear plate and gently compress the cutting handle while rotating the tube with your other hand to produce a very thin, shiny fracture line on the inside surface. The key to an accurate cut is gentle, consistent compression on the handle, consistent pressure against the wear plate, and consistent rotation of the tubing. 5. If the fracture line is white and looks like a score mark made with a conventional glass cutter, you have applied too much pressure. A perfect internal fracture line is so thin it's hard to see. It is a shiny crack that reflects light but has not crushed the glass and left a white line. A perfect fracture line is easier to see if held up to the light. Do not roll the cutting wheel over the beginning of the cut. One rotation of the glass tube is enough. If you rotate more than once around, the fracture line will get very big and white. This wears the cutting head and leaves a line of bubbles when sealing the tube onto something else. A perfect fracture line is clean, has no crushed glass, and is ready to seal. It will leave no bubble line in the finished seal. 6. To trigger the crack, set a medium hot flame on your torch, which is as wide as the diameter of your tubing. Move the glass into the flame while rotating. Center the fracture line in the middle of the flame. If the flame is set correctly, the glass will crack in 5 to 10 seconds of heating. If a crack never forms, the flame was too small, or too cool, or the glass had residual strain from prior heating. The ideal flame is too cool to fire polish the tubing end, but not so hot that heat check cracks form on the freshly cut end. If the fracture line does not expand into a crack, do not apply water to quench the crack. Let the glass cool down to room temperature. Check to make sure you have a thin, shiny fracture line around the interior. Set your fire a bit hotter or a bit wider and reheat the fracture line. If a crack still does not form, it is likely because of residual strain in the tubing from prior work which was not annealed. This tool works best on well-annealed glass of consistent thickness. 7. After many uses, you will find you must compress the handle harder to get a shiny fracture line. The cutting wheel may be greasy. Please wipe clean with a solvent and rag. Never apply oil or other lubricants to the cutting wheel. 8. If excessive pressure is still required to produce a fracture, or the cutter goes from no fracture to a wide white crushed line, the cutting wheel is worn. 9. To replace the cutting wheel. Work over a table so no small parts are lost. Loosen the retaining cap screw and twist the retaining cap to reveal the cutting wheel pin. 10. Remove the pin and the wheel will come out easily. Replace the old wheel with a new wheel, gently wiggling the pin back in place. 11. Rotate the retaining cap back in its place and tighten the retaining screw.